Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works, where today I have to go do perk tests, so I don't have a whole lot of time to languish here and edit videos and such, so I hope this one loads fast. I have to talk fast, you have to listen fast. Well, I'm not going to talk that fast. Behold, boys and girls, behold, there be a strut on the back of my boat. I be strutting my stuff. And that can only mean one thing. If there's a strut, there must be a stuffing tube. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there is a stuffing tube. And as you can see, it's a bit of an angle. And I got to thinking about that yesterday. And I don't know how many of you have ever pulled the cowl off a single-engine propeller airplane, but other than the Lancer, and I'll talk about that someday, other than the Lancer, every single piston-powered airplane I know of has the engine in there crooked. Why? Because of torque and P factor, because the engine wants, the propeller turns this way, so the engine wants to turn that way, the propeller wants to spin the plane. And so they mount things crooked to account for that. Now in the Lancer, with every power change, you've got to, change your rudder trim and so forth. I'll show you what I did and how I came up with getting the angle-a-dangle to get the motor to fit under here. First of all, I mounted that. I put a piece of carbon back there as a doubler, so I'm not screwing into just an empty transom. Give me some meat to bite onto. And here's what I did. Because I'm using this E8 collet as a coupler, I just switched the collet out for a 5mm collet. I'm using a 6mm tube, so the 5mm collet just slips into it. And what I'm going to do when I finally mount the motor, and I'm using these as shims to get an idea where it's going to go, but when I finally mount the motor, I'm going to have this, carbon fiber shaft in there. See, the motor damn near holds itself. But I'm going to prop it up kind of about like, So I will have this side a little bit higher than that side, so my mount's going to be in an angle kind of like that. That's just the way things work out, So the mount will be at an angle that gets everything as low as I can, and it clears everything. So there's my solution to that problem. Here's another little thing I did too. This is a 6mm tube, but it actually takes a 7mm tube for this strut. So what I did is I took a 7mm tube, cut it off, and I green sauced it into here, and now this tube goes about that far and it slips. That way, when I move things up and down, or if I have to bend things to get a different angle-a-dangle, then it'll all be copacetic inside of here. When I was drilling this little blister out, it kept cracking, and then when I was epoxying, it kept cracking. So I said, what the heck? And I sanded it like this, and I might just put a piece of tape around here, tape that off and just spray paint that part white, just to conceal it. Ultimately, I will have white heat shrink, going the whole distance up to there. I like the the full-length heat shrink. So there you are, quick and dirty. This is a great alignment tool. I mean, it's strong enough to get me in good alignment here, and being a machine call it, the accuracy is pretty darn good. So that'll be how I do it. I'll play around with it, because even now there are I can feel some loads here and where the motor sits, where the motor sits. So in my testing, it looks like there'll be about 3/8 of an inch of cable sticking out, which is just fine. Just fine. With this size cable, 3/8 of an inch won't hurt at all. So there you go, boys and girls. Quick and dirty. Until next time, it might be a 2-day test, so I might be running out again tomorrow. Until next time, jet out.